Young Australian Champions is a new initiative that we've done teaming up with the Victorian Government and the Department of Justice to help young people who have dealt with the criminal system create some type of positive craft on their own and share with their peers and communities around to shed light on how they've been able to change their life with the previous past with crime and the justice system. At Young Australian People, we vision to see Young Australian Champions to be an ongoing project that can potentially change lives and give the wider community a deeper outlook on how changing your life can make a difference.
I look at them later on in their lives and I've seen how they've gone down the wrong path.
If you don't change your path or you don't change your ways, you only have two options. You're gonna be dead or in jail.
I think youth crime crisis.
14-year-old's been arrested over the attempted carjacking.
Stabbed to death during a brawl.
He killed our son.
What needs to be done now to fix Australia's youth crime crisis?
You're never going to fix youth crime. Intervention to turn kids around before a lifetime of crime.
The system needs fixing.
My name is Zaid, I'm 25 years old, Melbourne born and raised, and I'm here to share my story. Hopefully I could change somebody's life or direct the youth in a better pathway.
My name is Mukhtar Dahir. I'm 22 years old. I grew up and also was raised in Flemington.
So my name's Apakura, my friends call me Api, and I worked in the justice system as a correctional officer for about 3 years. And I worked a lot with the youth here in the criminal justice system.
So my name is Barry Berry. I'm born and raised in North Melbourne. Born with cerebral palsy. My parents are from Eritrea, from East Africa. I've worked with a lot of young people. I've been involved with them as well, in going to courts with them and supporting them as a community leader. And they always call me for reference or those kind of things as well. So, yeah.
My upbringing in Flemington was a bit, up and down here and there, especially my early years growing up in Flemington. The area weren't really as safe as you would assume for young kids. It reached the point where my parents would pretty much witness how the police would treat certain people around and how certain people within the area weren't really law-abiding citizens pretty much. So
You get a lot of young people who are facing a lot of trauma because their parents don't want them to become like a lawyer or a doctor.
The environment that they're brought up in hugely shapes how they view the world.
Especially kids who had been dropped out of school, kids who've been in and out of juvenile.
I got to work in the youth unit, which is specific for youth, 25 or 26 and under. This specific kid was interesting to me because he was young, and I was just like, why are you here? You're so young. Why are you here? And he said, it's all I know. I was like, what do you mean? And he points out, literally in the unit, that's my cousin, that's my brother, that's my uncle, that's my dad. I was like, did you choose this? Did you consciously decide to follow the same path as them? Or were you just like, this is the path laid out for me? And he's like, yeah, it's just all I know, so I just followed. I don't know anything else.
The mental toll that has on you is so large that I guess you can't even put it into words. I mean, of course you have the time to think, but then if that's all you have, I mean, you can understand that your thoughts won't be the best coming out of that. Ultimately, I can't understand why anybody would listen to this and still want to pursue a life of crime. There's nothing cool about that. I had no money to give my family. You're in a box, more or less. So I really sat there and I thought to myself, like, this can't be it, More or less, how the hell did I even end up here? You know what I mean? So at that moment, I guess I said to myself, look, you can't do anything about your current situation, but you can definitely do something about your next situation. I base myself off resilience. Anything can come my way, and I'm not saying it's gonna be easy, but I'll find a way. I think it was Ramadan, the time I went to jail, but I saw it as an opportunity. I made sure I fasted every day while I was in my cells. having that good connection with God will always bring you gratitude. Fast forward, 12 months, I'm out now. I'm running my podcast with me and my boys. I'm trying to give back to my community. I'm working. So, and that's just in 1 year. I mean, this is for all the guys who have come out of jail too. Like, there's so much you can do, but you just gotta really knuckle down and don't let your current situation get into your head, So if I could speak to myself, this is actually me seeing myself right now and speaking to myself by saying, criminal stuff is the dumbest you can ever do. It's all a lie that's been given to us. It's all a facade that's been painted to us by music, by entertainment, by industries. People want us to be into these systems and lose brothers to jail systems and to fatalities because of crime, because you couldn't control your ego. You can't control your ego for 5 minutes and now you're sitting away for 5 years. You can't send your mum a single dollar. So tell me, where's the G, or where's the coolness, or where's the, whatever you guys are searching for, what is that? Come on, boys. Take your priorities serious. Stay focused in life. Fitness is a lot, health is everything. Lower your ego, drop your pride. No matter what you're going through in life, keep good connection with God, because that's what's gonna get you out of any situation in life.
There was not much role models growing up, especially when I was younger.
When I was young, I used to look up to people that I thought were OGs, only to find out later that it wasn't the case.
The people we see around us, the people we look up to, the people that are supposed to support us, how do they deal with their problems? How are they modeling how we should be dealing with our feelings that we feel? They go in self-sabotage or self-harm and suicide.
I think the role models of today for the youth need to be a little bit better, need to be a little bit more accountable. Just think twice about your actions and, reflect on what kind of influence you carry.
And when youth are seeing that, when they're looking up at the people who are meant to guide them on the right path, and that's the path they see them going on, towards the alcohol, towards the drugs, towards the self-sabotaging behaviors, of course that's all they're gonna think that's available to them, because that's all they see. They don't see anyone else modeling going to therapy or seeking help or speaking up about how we feel. The only thing they see is exactly what we do.
My role model is my old man. He's been with me since I was a kid, and as I said, I had a disability. Took me everywhere, took me to weddings, birthday parties, music events. So for me, that's my dad is my role model.
We're trying to change the game. We're trying to give game to the younger men coming up about what it really means to be a man. A lot of men don't have fathers coming up in these broken homes, so their ideology of what it is to be a real man can sometimes get a little blurry, because if we don't change our leaders of tomorrow, what's our future going to look like?
The system tried to generalize everyone that their situation is so delicate. Where they are, where they stand from, their point of view isn't general. It just simply isn't. They're in a whole different, they view the world differently from where they are and from where they've come from. We can't treat them like they're the same because they're not.
My experiences are not going to be the same as the next person who's my neighbour.
It really leaves you to sit there and think, then if this is not a way that we're welcome to be in, well, what are you offering, There needs to be something that offers rehabilitation of our actions or rehabilitation of our mindset.
Once they come out of juvenile, there's no community engagement outside of juvenile. So once they come outside, there's no community leader in between those two. The system, they don't have any community engagement or a community officer.
And it's a bit backwards, isn't it, that that's what the system is, where we should be trying our best to rehabilitate these kids.
The system has actually failed them, yes, definitely, but it's also the community also failed them as well, because we also ignore them as well. So they always say, I'm relaxed going back to the juvenile.
They're youth, and youth means there's time. There's time to change.
As soon as I graduated high school, I had a lot of free time, and that free time could could use that for a positive outlet, or I could pretty much just go down the wrong path where some individuals have gone down. So I thought, just try out the gym and just see how it feels. Because of the gym, it helped me have that outlet where I'd lift heavy weight, and then I don't know, for some reason, your central nervous system just firing, being able to lift this heavy weight. As soon as I just walk out, for some reason, I wouldn't have anxiety for probably a whole week. And I remember to this day, I was walking out the gym And I had this flush of dopamine, just feeling really, I don't know, like I've never felt that happy before in my life, just walking out of the gym. And that's the day I realized that, okay, this is something that I need to stick to. So yeah, ever since then, I just kept on pretty much sticking to it.
So I didn't play basketball until I was about, I think 18, 19 years old. So I always used to play basketball for fun, but I never had a chance to actually play for a team. I didn't know that there was so many Muslim women or girls from multiple backgrounds that actually played basketball. So it was a kind of bit of a shock for me. So Jump Ball currently is, increasing and creating more programs within the community that gives access to young people to develop those basketball skills. We didn't have these opportunities when we were younger, so let's get together and make a difference for the younger generations that come after us. And we've also had our kids program, which has been quite popular. So that's between 7 to 11 years old, where they're just exercising, getting together, making new friends, but also developing that social skills. And they have that space that they can play basketball and just play basketball and don't have to think about anything else.
We have this thing called duty of care where we have to ensure that they're safe physically, mental well-being as well. But until you're actually seeing what these youth are going through and the struggles they face on the daily, in and out, being confined, having to deal with their own mental battles and not having the tools to be able to express said mental issues, that's another big factor for the youth at risk, is they don't have a sense of belonging. They don't have culture to fall back on like I did. And there was this one kid that we got every day. He was one of the reasons why I saw hope, until one day I asked how he was again, like we normally did every morning. And he actually said, to be honest, miss, I'm not doing okay. He told me a story about how his grandmother had passed away and it was COVID at the time. The funeral was that day. And I had to speak to the supervisors, I spoke to the managers, and they were like, oh, look, we're not allowed to get them out of the cell for these reasons. This kid doesn't speak. Again. So for him to have spoken up about it as well was huge to me. Spoke to my mates who also knew that there was something we could do. We knew there was something. And so we had to go through all these systems, and we found it, a legislation that said that they were able to come out of the cell in a confined space with just one supervisor to monitor them on the Zoom, so that it was COVID safe. All the regulations were followed. And I slapped that on the supervisor, and they said you have to get manager's consent. Slapped it at the manager. By then it's 10 a.m. Night shift finishes at 8. We made it happen. We had the Zoom, and then they were pushing for me to go home, and I was like, no, I don't care if I'm not paid for these hours. I will stay and monitor him on the Zoom, because he asked if I could, because he knew no one else actually cared. And so I'm exhausted, but I'm like, nah, I'm not leaving until this kid has someone, because someone had to advocate for this kid, and no one would. And so I was like, I will.
So Young Australian People is an organisation where we support young people in terms of employment, mentoring and workshop. How it works is pretty much we are the middle ground. So we know a lot of organisations and a lot of service providers that got jobs opportunities. We refer young people, but before we do it, we mentor them and we help them with their resumes and cover letters, and then we make them ready, and then we send them off to a job provider, and they can help them more in terms of interview skills and those kind of things. When we first started, we had about, our first job was Australian Open, and we had about probably 80 applicants getting 2 jobs. We had the Grand Prix as well. We had about probably 20, 25 people who are interested in working, and they're still currently working as well in the high positions. Pretty much the organisations that we refer to them, they understand where they're coming from. So we try and make sure that confidence building between those two, basically.
Providing more options, because that was the thing. They think it's just path A, path B, path familiar, path bad, but I'm used to it. Or path B, I don't know, I'm scared. I don't want to even find out what path B is. What if we gave them visions and pictures of what path B could look like and how good that could be for them? We could show them look, if you came on this path, we have this opportunity for you to stray away from crime. We want to help actually prevent crime in youth. And so this is what we're going to do for you. What if we gave you the opportunity now to study what you're interested in, to give you the tools and guide you on that path to whatever it is that you're passionate about. Passion. Passion in youth is huge. If we could harness their passion and guide them, not push them, guide them safely in an environment where they feel safe to do so, to follow their passion and their dreams, because everyone gives up so easily on their dreams. What if we had someone helping these at-risk youth to follow their dreams and their passions? Watch that crime prevention number just deplete.
Young people that live in multicultural communities, and they're very striving and very, enthusiastic as well. They're keen to work and they're keen to be part of the system. They're keen to be part of the society.
We can give them a chance. They still have the opportunity and the will to drive for that chance if we gave it to them.
All they need is an opportunity to be part of the environment.